Hello, good afternoon and welcome to JoyNews Today. We're live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 125. Across all our social media handles, we're JoyNews on TV. Coming up within the next 60 minutes, Ghana's major political parties divided over the new Global Info Analytics survey that says Dr. Bawumia has dropped points in the Ashanti region, while former President John Dramani Mahama has gained grounds there. Also in this bulletin, minority in Parliament to haul Minister for Trade and Industry, Hammond, to answer why government is leasing the Komenda Sugar factory to West African Agro Limited, an Indian-based firm, for a renewable term of 15 to 20 years. These plus business, sports and showbiz in this package. My name is Faustina Safo. Do stay tuned in. Thanks for choosing us. Now, the governing New Patriotic Party and the opposition National Democratic Congress are sharply divided over a report by Global Info Analytics that says the NPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, led in the Ashanti region, but that lead has dropped marginally. Dr. Bawumia wielded 65% of the vote, while the opposition National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, had 24% of the vote. Mustafa Gbande and Kofi Tonto spoke earlier on Newsdesk. They've been sharing their views on this. We'll hear from them shortly. First, here's Executive Director of Global Info Analytics, Musa Dankwa, explaining the methodology behind this new survey.
The first poll was conducted immediately after Napo was announced. So that's on the 4th of July. So after the nomination was announced and outdoored, we polled the first one. And then this one was ended yesterday. What has accounted for the drop? Let me tell you what is the cause of the drop. From party affiliation perspective. Now, among people who said they were MPP and are voting for John Mahama, it declined by nearly 0.6%. But for those who said they were MPP and are voting for Bawumia, it's actually gone up plus 2%. Now, if you come to those who are NDC and voting for Bawumia, that has also gone up by 1.3%. But the critical movement came in the floating voters. In the period, Bawumia lost 16.6% of floating voters in Ashanti region. He lost 16.6% of floating voters, out of which 13.2 went to Alan Chekamatin, and then 5.5 went to John Mahama in Ashanti. So you could trace Bawumia's drop in the poll from his declining numbers among floating voters in Ashanti region, which accounts for about 16% of all voters in the region.
While political aide to Dr. Bawumia, Kofi Tonto, while questioning the methodology of the poll, said the governing New Patriotic Party is unfazed and will continue to canvass for votes to annex its stronghold.
For us in the NDC, we continue to appreciate every single research work. When Smart Sapon did his research, MPP was jumping around and dancing it all over until we found out that he was a card-bearing MPP member. That was the reason we spoke against it, but we didn't even attack the work that he did. We took it in good faith. We will continue to be guided by all the researchers, including the one that Smart Sapon will do, and ensure that we win the election. Apart from research work, other areas of focus have been the general feeling of Ghanaians. Today, if you ask the ordinary Ghanaian, it will manifest that they know that we haven't got response to government. We've got a syndicate of insincere politicians. We've got people who are not appreciating the sense of responsibility to say Ghanaians are suffering. They continue to say that they have worked when the ordinary Ghanaian keeps complaining. We will continue to be guided by all the researchers, including the one that Smart Sapon will do, and ensure that we win the election.
His Excellency is on a tour. He's done the northern regions, all the 5 regions in the northern sector of our country, with the exception of a few constituencies that we couldn't go. We'll do a return. We are currently in Shai Osudoku, in the greater Accra region. Immediately from here, we are headed towards the eastern region to begin the full eastern region campaign. We will continue to go to the people and engage them. We will continue to go to the people and tell them 3 things. 1, what we have done, the overall record of the government. 2, the contributions of His Excellency as part of that record, the specific initiatives that he championed to support the overall vision of His Excellency, the President. And then 3, his vision as an individual. If God willing, he's given the opportunity and the nod to lead.
Well, I've approved it. It's just that we haven't dotted the I's and crossed the T's. I think it was agreed that to be able to cross the T's, dot the I's, and eventually put the signatures, we must be clear about the sanctity of this whole edifice. There's no point signing a contract, committing them to sink in so much millions money when the stability of the system itself is not so clear. So I think the provisional feedback I'm getting from them is that they are happy with the maintenance government, MEP government is put into this place. They are quite happy. They will be able to run it. So I suspect that anytime within the next few days, they will come to my office for us to put our signatures to the document.
So what is in it for Ghana?
Well, if for nothing at all, it won't be rotten. You know, this has cost Ghana 38 million, when it should have cost us about 14, 15 million at the time. Actually, I got it wrong. The figure, the 18 million I'm talking about, would have been about twice the capacity of this. There's only about 1,250 metric ton capacity, and that's what the NDC government sold to Ghana for 38 million.
Okay.
So your question, what is it that we are getting? We are making sure that whatever is the remnant of this survives, runs.
In terms of percentage, so let's say government of Ghana is going to get about...
No, you're talking about shares. That thing, no. That whole thing belongs to government of Ghana. Okay. This is 100% ours. The asset is ours. We are leasing it as a board in place, as a company, which has a board. We just put them in charge. But it's 100% Ghana owned. But we are leasing it. We are leasing our asset to a company which is going to work on it. I mean, use our assets, our equipment, use it, and then pay us back at the end of the day. We're not going to have shares in their products, but the company is 100% Ghana owned.
Okay. So for how long are we leasing these? And then
I'm thinking of giving it to them for 15, 20 years with an option of an extension or some sort of renewal after the initial lease.
Then again, in returns.
Well, the contract continues. You want to know the figures? I won't tell you now.
Well, we brought you that story saying that the minority is going to hold the Minister for Trades and Industry before the House, Katie Hammond, to answer why government is leasing the Komenda Sugar factory to West African Agro Limited, an Indian-based firm, for a renewable term of 15 to 20 years. Well, we heard Mr. Hammond. He says that he believes the move is necessary to revitalize the struggling factory's operations. Now, let's do some other stories now and listen to Mutala Muhammad. He says it is important for the Trades Minister to explain the process so it becomes clearer what the focus will be.
It's interesting that the Minister is unwilling to tell you how much is involved. Isn't it also ironic that the Minister is telling you that he is thinking to leave it for about 25 to 20 years? So it means that there hasn't been any well-thought-through decision taken on what they would do. Because for a minister to announce that they intend leasing a company such as the Komenda Sugar factory for a private operator, and then you ask him a very brilliant question, how much is involved, he's unwilling to tell us how long the lease is going to take. He says that he's thinking. These are the words he said, I'm thinking, as if he controls that and he takes a decision. I am thinking to leave it for them for about 20 to 25 years. Look, this thing is fraught with a lot of corruption. And it is important for me to state that government didn't need to do what they are doing now. The Komenda Sugar factory, the contract were in two tranches. One was to build the factory, and the other one was to provide adequate raw materials for the factory to run. The factory was completed 6 months ahead of the scheduled date of completion. And before that, we kickstarted the acquisition of the $24 million loan for the purposes of the raw materials, that is the sugarcane. And we started the nursery plantation. I moved the motion. The contractual agreement was actually agreed. Parliament approved it in October 2016. One was expecting that the moment a new government came into office, they would have gone ahead to access that money. They refused to access the money for whatever reason, only God knows.
Well, the Minister for Employment and Labour Relations, Ignatius Bafwewa, says his ministry has resolved all outstanding issues with Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana. We know that CTAG laid down their tools weeks ago to demand better conditions of service, including the enforcement of an NLC ruling. That action compelled GTEC to freeze their salaries for the month of July. Speaking to the media after appearing before the Public Accounts Committee a while ago, the Employment Minister, Ignatius Bafwewa, says all outstanding issues have been settled. James Aveji joins us live with updates. James, what else has come up?
A bit more on that issue. The minister has indicated that we know, some of the issues that led to this were CTAG's demand that the changing of the status of the teacher training colleges to colleges of education needed to reflect in their status. Until now, they have not been successfully migrated. Their payment as well as all severance packages due them has not been migrated yet. And so that was part of their defense. The minister has been clarifying that, for instance, with the issue about some work that they have done, which have not been paid for, they mentioned that in 2022, government owed them some 1 month salary allowance arrears. The minister said those have been resolved and they have signed an MOU. The ministry, together with the leadership of CTAG, has signed an MOU on the back of that. And so what is left with is for CTAG to go back to meet their members at their next meeting to come back, take a decision on that and come back to the classroom. On the issue about their migration, it talks about the fact that the delay was due to some verifications they have to make based on the certificate. From their cleansing of the names, they realized that over 90% of the teachers do not qualify to teach at the colleges of education with the level of qualification they had. And so they needed to work on all of those. And those were the reasons why there were some undue delays in migrating them to the status they needed to be at teachers' colleges of education. But that also, he said, have seen some level of improvement as far as that is concerned. He said he's hopeful that in the rest of the months of the year, measures have been put in place to avert any form of huge industrial action that could impact the work of labor. We know about the threat of industrial action when the Smith issues came in and how they have to resolve all of those. And so he's assuring that at least between now and the end of the year, there will not be any huge labor action on our hands to deal with, and that they are taking steps to resolve all of those. So we have a sound labor environment, at least for the end of the year. On the committee itself, there have been some back and forth between him and the committee chair as well as the other members on what really is the level of unemployment in the country. When the government statistician appeared before the committee on Wednesday, he indicated that the current unemployment rate is over 13, about some 13.67%. Honorable Murtala Mohammed had issue with that. He said before government took over, the unemployment rate was at 8.4, and so that's not understand why government has run that up to about 13%. The minister's concern was the real definition of unemployment, and he takes the position that if the definition as to people who have not been employed is concerned, he thinks that the figure, the percentage, should be less than 12%, and he holds that view, leading to the back and forth. But some consensus have been reached on that. We'll be expecting that other ministries, including the gender minister, also appears before the committee today to look at the final sitting day for the week. Next week, there will not be any sitting. The following week, they will be there to look at the other infractions.
Thank you, James Aveji. Now let's stay with the educational sector. Teachers fleeing their assigned duty posts, mostly in rural areas, has become a persistent problem surrounding the posting of newly trained teachers in Ghana. While the Ashanti Regional Directorate of the Ghana Education Service has observed the introduction of self-placement intervention, and that has significantly reduced the likelihood of fresh teachers seeking reposting. The initiative allows teachers to choose their areas of function, meaning they are more aware of their designated locations and less inclined to abandon their posts. There's more in this report by Clinton Yeboah.
The Ghana Education Service introduced a self-placement system for over 12,000 newly qualified teachers who have completed their degree programs at colleges of education and passed their licensure exams. The system is to address various challenges faced by new teachers, including language barriers, logistics shortages, and financial difficulties that plague them to abandon their posts. Kingsley Amfo is the training officer of the Ashanti Regional Education Directorate. He has noted a few cases of abandonment from the over 1,200 teachers posted to the Ashanti region.
At first, the teachers will just will come that they don't want to go to where they have been posted to. It's not new, but this time around we are lucky with the help of the Minister of Education, the Director General, and other men up there. This time around they did what we call self-placement. So it is very difficult for teachers to come now that they want to change their place of posts. No way. So this time around they've accepted because already they know where they are going, and therefore the idea of them coming back for reposting and other things is no more.
All newly posted teachers and non-teaching staff posted to schools in the Ashanti region have undergone a freshers orientation. The orientation, organized by the GES, is to usher the new teachers into the teaching profession. The fresh teachers were taken through financial management, hazards of teaching profession, HR issues, and ethical conduct. Kingsley Amfo says the orientation exercise will make the fresh teachers responsible and find purpose in their teaching journey.
This time around, we want to equip them with the requisite skills. You see, their role is to go and impact knowledge, but not only that, but also to ignite the curiosity in the learners so that at the end of the day, they will become a responsible adults in life. So that is what we want to achieve. By doing this, we are empowering them. We want them to embrace the profession with good hearts.
The orientation was premised on the theme, beginning your teaching profession with a global approach, the 4 H's, head, hand, heart, and habit. The Ashanti Regional Director of Education, Dr. Williams Kwame Amankra, encouraged the teachers to remain open-minded, curious, and collaborative.
I will encourage you to remain open-minded I will encourage you to remain open-minded, curious, and collaborative. The connections you make here today will be valued as you navigate the challenges. Our role as educators extends beyond the confines of our classrooms. We have the unique opportunities and responsibility to prepare our students to thrive in the global world.
Reporting for Joy News, my name is Clinton Yabua.
The Ghana Medical Association is this afternoon describing as alarming the level of brain drain in the medical sector. According to the president of the association, Dr. Frank Sribo, the medical sector is now losing more experienced specialists to brain drain. There's more in this report. I'll bring you the report shortly, but we know that speaking at the annual general meeting of the Society of Private Medical and Dental Practitioners, Dr. Sribo charged the government to fix what he says is responsible for the exodus of medical professionals, including the depreciating cedi, high cost of living, among others. Prince Kwame Kodoka joins us with further details. Prince, what else came up? Prince, you have to unmute for me to hear you clearly. I will try to reposition our lines and get back to Prince to give you that update. Meanwhile, management of the National Health Insurance Authority is proposing the amendment of an act establishing the NHIA to divert levies into the authority's accounts. Presently, proceeds from the National Health Insurance Levy are accrued into the consolidated accounts for release to the NHIA after certification from the Finance Ministry. Chief Executive Officer of NHIA, Dr. Da Costa Bwaji, says about 8 billion cedis accrued through the NHIS could be invested in healthcare delivery annually if the existing order is reversed. Nadia Ojima has more in this report.
Per the Act establishing the NHIA, the levy charged at 2.5% on goods and services provided in the country or imported is imposed for the effective functioning of the National Health Insurance Scheme. Despite the capping of the fund, it is expected an amount of 7.9 billion cedis is accrued through the NHIL, but the budget allocation to the schemes stands at 6.8 billion cedis this year. Dr. Da Costa Bwaji believes the release of the full amount would improve the fortunes of the scheme.
The NHIL, which you and I pays for it, must be sent to the NHIL accounts. Even within the current context, the NHIL in the capping space is expected to be around 7.9 billion for this year. 7.9 billion. This year's budget for NHIS is 6.8 billion. So if the finance minister and GRA were releasing the funds, I believe that it could go way, obviously, to help the Ghanaian people.
Dr. Bernard Okuboy enumerated some proposals to ensure the scheme stays robust.
We've had proposals from some key stakeholders to government to convert COVID-19 levy to a public health or emergency fund to take care of epidemics, pandemics, and other medical emergency services. Requests have also been made to possibly ring fence the contributions from the NHIL so that it doesn't go into the consolidated fund.
Statistics from the NHIA reveals 28 million people are enrolled on the scheme, with 17.8 million of the members active. In reforming the scheme, healthcare providers have tabled complaints of low tariff resulting in what is widely known as co-payments. Dr. Dacosta Abuaje outlined measures being adopted to resort to an automatic adjustment formula in search of a lasting solution.
Now, when we review the tariffs, we will get Parliament to give us what we call the automatic price adjustment in health economics, not like what happens in the fuel field. The automatic price adjustment means that depending on the current economic situation, we will set up a National Tariff Review Committee. That National Tariff Review Committee will review the prices of the items and services based on whether linked to inflation or the economic situation. Then it will be adjusted accordingly. Once we do that, there will be no moral right for any health facility to be charging our clients.
For Joy News, Nana Ojima, Kumasi.
The Ghana Anesthesiology Society is reporting pain as the most common representation of illness reported in health facilities across the country. Yet, cultural and societal misconception, lack of expertise and structural setbacks are affecting proper management of pain, leading to death. Medical professionals across the country are assessing the systematic ways of managing pain under the Essential Pain Management course in Kumasi. There's more in this report by Clinton Yeboah.
Pain has many causes, including cancer, injury, infection, surgery, and people experience it in many different ways. Despite the commonality, pain is often a hidden problem and is poorly treated in hospitals. The Ghana Anesthesiologists Association and the World Federation of Anesthesiologists have instituted Essential Pain Management workshop aimed at improving pain recognition, assessment, and treatment. The Trainer of Trainers workshop highlighted why pain should be treated, assessment of severity, classification of pain, pain physiology and pathology, pain treatment, and pain medication. General Secretary of the Ghana Anesthesiology Society, Dr. Moses Frimpong, says the workshop is to equip practitioners to identify pain management barriers and efforts to overcome the barriers.
I mean, there are cultural beliefs. For instance, there are some women who think that they should scream in labor as a proof of womanhood. Some too say religious-wise, it is expected that you go through various, when people are in pain and they are crying, especially the men, you are deemed to be weak. The pain is still there and has their consequences on people. So, Ghana Anesthesiology Society, which is a specialty that deals with pain management, is collaborating with the World Federation of Societies of Anesthesiologists to roll out a course that was designed years ago by the WFSA. It's called Essential Pain Management Course.
Untreated pain causes inflammatory changes in the body, which may have harmful physical and psychological effects. A total of 21 trainers have been equipped to train an additional 100 participants. The anesthesiologists at the World Federation of Anesthesiologists, Claire Rooks, says the modules are flexible to be easily absorbed by local anesthetists.
And it's a one-day workshop that's designed to teach people how to treat pain. And we also teach local people to train their local workers as well. I think so, because there are so many people here now who are trained and who are very keen and enthusiastic and more than capable of implementing many of the things that we are teaching here today.
Amelia Cruther is the programs manager for the World Federation of Anesthesiologists.
The courses in Ghana this week are supported by THET, which is the Tropical Health Education Trust. This is an organisation based in the UK and it's under their Global Health Workforce Programme. So we were awarded a grant to support 2 essential pain management courses in Ghana, with the first taking place this week in Kumasi, and we hope for one later in the year in Accra.
Some trainees, including clinicians, anesthetists, doctors, pediatricians, and surgeons, say they will be able to overcome defects in their practice concerning pain handling.
One of the major stigmas was that addiction is a frequent thing identified with giving patients, for example, opioids. But we've understood today that It is not. It is a facade. It is actually not true, and so we shouldn't be, limiting ourselves.
Clinton Yabois reports for Joy News.
You're watching JoyNews Today. We'll be back with business after this break.
When I was young, I asked my mother the secret of hair vitality and health. She said, the right food, the right exercise, the right amount of sleep, and the right blood tonic. Nescafe Blood Tonic is effective for the treatment of anemia, lack of appetite, and stressful conditions in both adults and children.
Nescafe Blood Tonic, the right family blood tonic. Another quality product from Ernest Chemists. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Yes. Star 712. Picture this. Coming on Greece. Yeah. And now you were back in Greece. To say why you fit on the millionaire. Yes, the luckiest at Aroma. To say about from Massa Echeman. Yeah. Now check this. Sister Abna, aka Kobe Hima. The luckiest at the room. Queen B. Yeah. Boss lady Baku Pay. Let's go. Hold on to your seats, folks. Such anyway, be you smooth. Where you and your friend will upgrade. Luckiest Nadaroma. And the best part that with the luckiest, Obia were a shot to a good life. And I'm talking to you, me, your girlfriend, your ex, your neighbors, your landlords, and even Goro boys. And no one is over dialing with lucky number. Star 712. No.
Coswato ticket to win in the community draw or the grand draw on the 30th of November 2024. The luckiest is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform, not for persons below 18 years. TNC.
Welcome back to business on JoyNews Today. My name is Winston Taki, and out to first business story. Director of Research at the Institute of Economic Affairs, Dr. John Kwachi, is calling for stringent policies for export and import in the country. This, he said, will ensure stability in Ghana's exchange rate regime. He was speaking at a national review and feedback on Ghana's IMF-supported program organized by the Economic Governance Forum in Accra.
To stabilize the exchange rate on a permanent basis, we need policies that will maximize our export earnings and reduce import demand. Because the problem is that we have this foreign exchange supply and demand gap that is persistent, and we need to close that gap, by addressing the supply side and then the demand side. Then Bank of Ghana should also progressively build up the foreign exchange cover of the CDs is as issued. The current statutory floor is that the bank should cover that with 40% of foreign exchange. We are suggesting that progressively they should increase it to about 70% or at least 6 months of import cover. That will give a solid backing to the exchange rate. And where do we get the extra foreign exchange from? Our natural resource wealth. It is there. We can own it and use it to support your city. It's as simple as that. Go on, please. Fiscal policy. Government must plug the numerous tax loopholes, as I've said, including trade misinvoicing, tax exemptions, and so on, that I mentioned. Government must also rationalize its expenditure by curbing recurrent expenditure and then allocating more resources to capital expenditure to spur growth.
Now, moving on, the president of the International Secretariat of Harakatiza Muungano, Kwame Dankwa, has emphasized the need for Africans to freely trade among themselves to boost employment and reduce poverty. According to him, this would enable Africans to access both local and foreign investment. He was speaking at the inaugural conference of the Union of Development and Freedom.
The president of the International Secretariat of Harakatiza Muungano, Kwame Dankwa, has emphasized the necessity for Africans to freely trade among themselves to boost employment and reduce poverty. Speaking at the inaugural conference of the Union for Development and Freedom, he urged African leaders to ease border restrictions to facilitate the free movement of goods and services, adding that such integration would create a larger market, attracting both local and foreign investment.
An integrated market in sub-Saharan Africa opens doors to unprecedented economic opportunities by allowing free movement of goods, services, capital, and people across our borders. We can significantly boost intra-African trade. An integrated market means removing trade barriers, harmonizing standards, and implementing policies that encourage cross-border trade and investment. The benefits of a union and integration are manifold. A larger market will attract investment, both foreign and local, employing the factors of economies of scale that leads to expanded production, job creation, and economic diversification.
The Chief Industrial Relations Officer of the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union of Ghana echoed Dankwa's sentiment, stating that coordinated efforts and integrated policies among African nations will foster a conducive business environment.
Why can't we fellowship together without going through roadblocks and without visas? Why can't we trade among ourselves without heavy tariffs? We ask and demand from our African leaders to tear down these physical and economic barriers. We are here to continue what our leaders of old began and were unable to bring it to reality. We are here to do our part as citizens of Africa. Leaders like our own Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, President Sekaturi, and many more are the pioneers of this noble cause we have embarked on.
WO4 Business here on JoyNews Today. My name is Winston Taki. We'll be back with sports and entertainment after this break. Stay tuned.
Since the last day of last season, we are ready to do it all again. Phil Foden is having the season of his life. Brilliant! Just brilliant! That is quite something!
Watch all the Premier League, La Liga, and Serie A games on DSTV Compact for only 300 cedis a month.